We're gathered here today with the children of Captain Sam Bailey and Minette Collins Bailey. Captain Sam was born November 29, 1896 and died November 13, 1980. Miss Minette was born March 12, 1901 and died July 10, 1963. They were married January 3, 1920 at St. Dominic's Church in Washington, D.C. It has been said for us to know where we are going, we need to know where we have been. And that is the message that we hope that the brothers and sisters here today will convey to their children and grandchildren. My name is Robert Steele Pogue, and I will attempt to conduct this interview. For the record, today is January 16, 2012. The first child born to Captain Sam and Miss Minette was Beezy. She was born July 12, 1922 on St. Margaret's Island and died January 3, 1992. She was married to Dennis Tippett and had 4 children. I will ask each of you all to share with us a remembrance of Beezy in a few moments. But I'll start with Lucille and ask her for her remembrance of Beezy to start off with.
So many good memories. She was such a good person, so much fun. She had it hard, but you'd never know it. She could go out and just have a big time anywhere and go make out she was the happiest person in the world. I think everybody loved Beezy. If they didn't like themselves.
Did Beezy go to Holy Angels?
Beezy went to Holy Angels. She was, like you said, she was born on the island. And then she went to Holy Angels. And then she walked to school for about 4 years, I guess, because I walked 1 year. And she graduated at Holy Angels, then she went to the academy, St. Mary's Academy. She had to board over there. I don't know whether it was 1 or 2 years because of her health. She boarded and just came home on weekends. And she married Dennis when she was young. And they had the family. So she was a great person.
Okay. Then we'll move on with you. As you said, I'll try not to embarrass you with too many personal questions here, but I guess to start off, what is your date of birth and where were you born?
I was born March 26, 1926, in River Springs at that time. Mom and Dad moved off the island, I think about 3 months before I was born. We lived just on the water right across from the island.
Okay, and did you attend Holy Angels also?
Yes, and I had to walk 1 year. We walked to Tees Cove and had to get in a skiff, go across that creek, and then over to Aunt Katie Gibson's, Buddy Gibson's, and then walk to school.
Yeah, those things are kind of fun to brag on.
Yeah, but it wasn't too much fun, I don't think. Flea and Fuzzy Wise, they walked with us, and when I was little, I can remember them putting me up on their shoulders and carrying me.
One thing that occurred to me is, what was Christmas like in your family then, with you and Beezy? And
we always had a nice Christmas. I'm sure we were poor, but everybody else was. We didn't think we were poor. Mom and Dad we always got one nice toy and clothes, and we were always together at Christmas. We had
what type of food did you have for Christmas?
Gee whiz, I don't remember.
You had stuffed ham and oysters?
Maybe pot of bean soup, I don't know. I don't remember.
Oh, the captain was kind of noted for having some unusual food.
Yes,
sometimes.
he was.
All right. What was you didn't live on the island, did you?
No.
Who were your neighbors and friends back then in River Springs?
Jimmy Cheseline's parents, Uncle Gary and Miss Mary Cheseline. They were our closest neighbors, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
And then that Mr. Baker that had that house that used to come down on weekends.
And Mr. Crew.
And Miss Crew, of course, the field.
And the Wise
And
family.
Harry Druid farm, yes.
But the Gattons lived there before Mrs. Crew. Philip Gatton and his family lived
Al
there.
Gatton.
Al and Calvin and
Harry
Doris,
Druid
all
farm.
them lived there. When we were growing up.
Where did you attend church then?
Holy Angels.
Holy Angels?
Yellow.
We were always late.
Yeah.
And how did the family travel then? What kind of car did Captain Sam have? You remember? Or-
No, Daddy always, I think, had a big car, didn't he? Always had a big car.
Captain had Buicks in those days.
And
If you,
where did you attend high school then?
I went to St. Mary's Academy.
And, who were some of your classmates that you?
Jim Gibson.
Oh, yeah. Everything,
Jimmy
tennis
Guy.
tables, chairs, anything. Of course, we did
Jimmy
catering
Guy.
too, but
They were the ones from down
we
home.
did the
that
whole
way.
thing, but we have
We
everything.
didn't have too many
All
kids in
kinds
our
of
class at the academy. Only 20-some, I think.
Yeah, I can know.
They were the only ones from down that way, I think.
Where did you meet your future husband Joe at that time?
Oh, gum, that was heaven.
You known him all for a while, or
Yeah,
he didn't go to school with you,
I
did he?
know, no, Joe's older than me. Down the old gum.
When did you all get married?
44. No, 40. Yeah, 44. Yeah.
And where did you live then?
We lived with his parents for 3 months, and then we moved down in your uncle's place down there.
Bill's and Pug's little house.
Pug's house down there. We lived down there for a while. Then we bought the farm up there.
I see. Did you work outside the house then, or did you?
I taught for 21 years at Holy Angels, you know. So,
And what kind of work did Joe do at that
he
time?
was a farmer. He worked with Daddy on the trucks.
Yeah, I remember when he was driving trucks
Yeah,
one time.
he farmed.
And how many children did you have, and what are their names?
I had 4: Carol Ann, Jay, Jeannie, and Mike.
Okay, and when did Joe pass away?
Joe died in 77.
77. And of course, some years later, you met a fellow named Bernie
Yeah,
Dempkins. And,
in 85, Bernie.
where did you meet him?
I met him down at Sacred Heart at the church dinner.
Church dinner.
Yep, I was waiting on tables, that's where I met.
And when did you get married then?
We got married in 85. Married almost 25 years when he died.
Now, how do you explain the close relationship that you and your brothers and sisters have had over the years?
Can't
It's,
explain it so close.
I don't know, we've always been close.
Like
We
that.
always have done what you
Hey,
said.
Eddie, not all.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure we had ups and downs like every brother and sister, but we've never had big arguments. We've never been mad at each other since we've grown up.
Never paid any tax on one another.
I don't think any of us would do anything for either of the others. So,
One final question there. What is the message that you'd like to leave to your children and grandchildren about your family and their family
to
relationship?
always stay close. You need your family.
Well, you certainly have done that over the years, that's for sure.
That's what I want my children to do, my grandchildren.
Okay. All right, I'll move on to Catherine now for the sake of
The baby girl.
not getting my names mixed up. I'm gonna call you Cat because you've
That's
always
fine.
been Cat to me. What is your date of birth and where were you born?
My birth is December the 10th, 1928. And I was born in that little house by the river. Then they called it River Springs at
River
the time.
Springs, yeah. Could you share some thoughts of Bee at this time also?
Beezy,
Beezy, yeah.
she was the greatest friend and sister a man could have. She was always there for you and was always ready to go anywhere with you. And she was out for a good time.
Bee did have some health problems, I didn't she?
Yes, all her life she had health problems. We thought she just didn't want to do anything, but as we grew up, we realized that she had heart problems and she had rheumatic fever. And she was sick all the time.
Okay, and where did you attend elementary school?
Holy Angels.
And how about some of your friends and neighbors you had?
Oh, I had a lot of friends at Holy Angels. It was Elizabeth Huseman, Buddy Downs' wife, Marie Bevins, and Margaret Gass, Andrew Weitzel, Francis Arnold.
These people were in school with you?
They were in 8th grade with me, all through Holy Angels with me. And
How many kids were in the same grade with you then, you remember?
we only had about 10 at Holy Angels. And then we went to St. Mary's Academy, and some of them went there. And we had 21 in our senior class at St. Mary's Academy.
The nuns were teaching you at both schools, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
I always had nun teachers. They were tough on me too, because I was so good.
What was the Christmas like in your family? And I asked Lucille that. What do you remember
Well,
about
I
Christmas?
just remember Mom always having a table full of cakes and fruit and stuff, and we always got, like Lucille, always got a doll baby and a piece of clothes at Christmas, and we were happy.
That's certainly a good remembrance. And did you attend, Holy Angels Church also at that
Yes,
time?
until I got married. I was married at Holy Angels Church in 1951.
Holy Angels always had that annual Labor Day festival. Do you remember?
Yes, I do,
having
because we
that?
had to work at them, you know. It wasn't say, will you work? It says, you're going to work. And we enjoyed it, especially when we turned about 14, you could go to the dance if you worked the festival. But if you didn't work at the dinner, you couldn't go. So you know we worked to go to the dance. So I had a lot of good fun.
I seem to remember you driving the bus and someone's as a fill-in when I was going to school later years. You want to share some of your memories
Well,
there?
I started driving the bus, what year for Dad? I drove 35 years. And I drove for Dad 2 years, and then Francis took him over, and I drove for him until I got sick. And I enjoyed it all the time. Now, I'm not going to say every day was a good day, but I enjoyed driving, and I loved every kid I had.
Wasn't any noise on those buses in those days?
Not too bad, no, no.
When did you meet Francis and where?
Well, I used to hang out with Alice, and I guess I really got to know him up at Hills Club and going to her house.
Hills Club, huh?
That was our hangout. Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Did Miss Manette know about this Hills Club?
Oh, yes, because she'd find me, she'd call Hills Club, I was there. One night she called me, Eddie had appendicitis, and she called up Hills Club for me to come home and stay with Bernie. She knew where to find me.
That's good, that's good. And when and where did you get married to Francis, and who was in the wedding?
Francis and I got married July 21st, 1951, the Holy Angels. Bo was the best man, and Alice Ann was the maid of honor, and
That's Alice Ann Swan.
yeah, and Russ and Joe Boy Downs and Elmore Guy were the ushers, and Thelma Downs and Susan Bell Guy, and let's see, who else was my Joan were my maid of my mom in my
Where
wedding.
did you have the wedding? Was that at
At
Holy
my
Angels?
house. And
And the reception was?
at the house. Carol Ann was flower girl, and Dave Tippett was my ring bearer.
Maybe not. Okay, and how many children did you have and their names? And,
Well, I had two. Nancy Lee, she was born June the 21st, 1952. Then I had Alan in 1957.
and of course, Alan has since passed away. And of course, you and Francis were in the school bus business. You want to share some thoughts about?
Well, we were in the bus business 50 years, and it wasn't bad. I mean, we both drove, and the children were very well mannered. They had respect for us, and they were good to us. We really didn't have any serious problem with children. We really didn't.
I can
I'm not gonna say every day was good.
I can see Francis out there now scrubbing on those school buses.
Yeah.
He certainly liked to keep them clean.
Right.
And when did Francis pass away?
February 28th, 2003.
And how do you account for your closeness of your brothers and sisters over the years?
My God, we couldn't be no closer. They're there for me.
I think
This was a twin.
that's a pretty good answer because your family has been close
Yes.
friends.
Yes.
That's
Eddie was especially close when I was bad.
And how about what would you like to say to your children and grandchildren about the future and so on?
Well, I'm like Lucille. I hope they're always close and be close as we are and be there for each other like we have been.
Okay. Now, Bo, this is, can you tell me when you were born and where you were living at that time?
Well, before that, I would like to say them old girls got a very good memory.
Yeah.
What you mean, I don't like
I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you something. You know, we didn't know what pregnant was back in that day. So we thought Dr. Palmer bought these boys in suitcases. Because, you know, we didn't know.
We were
And
always sent
we'd
to our
be
neighbors.
outside and Doctor come out and said, you had a little brother. Well, all we saw was suitcase. I thought Dr. Palmer bought them boys in
Yeah, that was a
suitcases.
word you didn't always mention.
No, nobody knew. Now 3 years old, they know. But I said, Bert and Eddie came in suitcases.
Okay, I was born July 19th, 1931, at River Springs.
You living at the same house as?
Same house that I lived in. Went to Holy Angels 8 years. Went to St. Mary's Academy for 4.
How about when you were in Holy Angels? Do you remember some of the people who were in your class? And
Yeah, we had Eddie Lawrence, Jimmy Bannigan. They were in there from the start. We went through all 12 grades together. Steven and Russ, he was a Sacred Heart, of course. Let me see, we had William Lacey was in there, one of the Furrow boys.
do you remember any of the nuns' name back then in Holy Angels?
Yeah, I think Sister Victoria was there. Sister Maxima,
Yeah.
is that the one?
How about the priest? Who was the priest then?
Who was the priest then? We had
Those days it was the Jesuits.
we had Father Herbert, we had Father McGuire, and we had Father Bear. And that was probably the 3 that was when I was in school.
And of course later on you attended St. Mary's Academy. There was an incident there at Saunders' store many years ago. Can you relate that to us?
Yeah, I can relate that to you, Artie.
First of all, tell us something about Saunders' store. That was sort of the hangout for you guys, wasn't
That
it?
was like a 7-Eleven
Yeah.
that you have now. We went out there sometimes during school when we weren't supposed to, and sometimes when we were supposed to, it was all right. But this day, we happened to be standing on the front porch and this car come up there. And the brakes hung on the car and it just pulled it right into the porch. And I got a broken leg out of it. Bernie Hall, he got killed that day. He was Charlie Hall's brother.
Bernie Holes, everything?
Bernie, yeah. Mhm. He got killed. I think William Lacey got skinned up some. But it was all right. We were in better shape than those other children. They had to go back to school and tell them.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that being a very sad situation over there. And, I never did remember the Hall boy, but I remember it was Charlotte's brother.
Bernie lived up there below, behind Johnny Lacey. It was
Yeah.
Stephen Hall's.
Yeah.
That's where he lived with his grandfather.
Can you tell us where, when and where you met your future wife, Joan?
Joan probably met her at the academy. Yeah.
Was she going to academy then?
She was going to the academy. Yeah, she was a freshman when well, she was 4 years behind me in school. Yeah, so I met her somewhere over there.
Yeah, when did you get married?
Man.
Edwards,
Got married in 1953.
53, you hadn't been in the army then, had you?
Yes, I was in the army when I
You
got
was in the
married.
army?
Yeah. I was in
Where
the
were
army.
you stationed then?
Fort Eustis, Virginia. And we got married and we at St. Francis Xavier Church over Compton.
Who was in the wedding?
Let me see, Eddie Lawrence was best man and Pritchie Medinsky was maid of honor. And probably Eddie Barner, I don't know. That was a long time ago.
Arlene was in your wedding.
Arlene?
And
I've seen a lot of ladies.
Joan's name was Cole,
Right.
Joan Cole. And who are your children and their names?
We have Faye, Sam, Mark, Beverly, and Steve.
Then where did you work after getting married and getting out of the army?
worked in Bailey's Express in Baltimore. We worked there. I worked up there for probably what 3 years, and then they sold it.
And you were living up in Glen Burnie somewhere then?
Lived up there for a year,
Yeah.
and that was long enough.
Yeah. Did it come a time that you were involved in politics and decided to take a run at something? Or?
Yeah, you know, the first politics the first years was, I was in the Young Democratic Club, and we had a crab feast to raise some money. And of course, them young boys knew everything. They wanted 40 bushel crabs for a crab feast. And they got them from Charlie Davis down there. And we had the feast at White Point. Do you remember when O'Brien run White Point and Dick Neal was down there? So that day turned out pretty day. You know how many crabs we used? We used two boots.
Well, somebody had some crabs.
So the next morning I called Mr. Davis. I said, "Is there any way you can help us out on them crabs? Can you take them back? Some of them back?" He said, "No, I'm not allowed to do that." He said, "But I'll tell you what I will do for you." He said, "I will take and donate them." So he donated the whole 40 bushels of crabs to the Democratic Party.
Young Democrats Club.
Right.
And let's see, did you later on run for office or something? Or?
Ran for the Central Committee for 2 terms. Lucked out and won twice, and then I thought I was going to win all the time, so I ran against Mr. Elliott Birch for county commissioner, and that wasn't the smartest thing I ever did. but it worked out good. He whipped me, and I got out of politics. I didn't get out of politics, but I got out of running. So, but I made a good vote. Carried 5 out of the 9 county districts, so I was happy.
What civic organizations have you belonged to? And
Let's see, belonged to the Lions Club for 5 weeks.
That last,
Optimist Club for what, 40 years? Yeah, whatever. That's about.
And I guess you're certainly particularly proud, particularly proud of the Optimist membership and so on.
Right.
The former president of the Optimist and helped guide us over the years.
The one thing I'm proud of the Optimists is they have a new president every year. We've never had the same president 2 years.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the main things that's kept this club going.
It certainly is. The governor at this year's installation of officers made comment to that. He said he thought it was that's a record for the country, that no other club has had that happen. When did your wife Joan pass away then?
She 77.
Okay. And what businesses did you and your family operate together? Your captain and you and your brothers and sisters?
Well, we had to start with had Bailey's Express. My father had that for a long time. He advertised 1914 when they started. And then when we sold that, we went down to Captain Sam's place down on the water. I stayed there 5 years, and then Eddie came in and he took it over and he made a big business out of it.
That was a bar and restaurant.
Right? Yeah. But in the meanwhile, we went in the oyster business down there too.
Buying and selling
oysters and clams, and it wasn't too bad. And we opened up the Captain Sam's Carryout up the road there, and we had the liquor store.
It sounds like it's possible that working in these businesses together has been a part of your closeness of the family too.
Yeah, I would say so, because you didn't have to. You always had somebody behind you that you could leave, and they were there. Captain couldn't understand how we could leave and meet some in places, but made that all right.
The First National Bank of St. Mary's and Southern Electric Co-op, you were involved in both of those. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, I think at the First National Bank and Southern Electric were two of the most prestigious boards in the county. I mean, I might be a little prejudiced saying that, but I really thought so when I was on there. First National Bank, I was there for 35 years between them and Mercantile. And Southern Electric, I stayed there for 33 years.
Yeah, for the record, First National Bank is now PNC Bank.
Right.
There's not a whole lot of the same anymore, but
Not exactly.
I know you're particularly proud of those two memberships. And
Both of them. I really enjoyed the years I served on them. Was lucky to be there.
And when and where did you meet your future wife, Luann?
I know Luann a long time. She used to come down Colton's Point even a long time ago when we played ball down there. She was married to John Cosimano.
And when did you all get married?
Let me see. We got married in 1978, in April of '78.
Okay, now there's all the others girls there. How do you explain the closeness of the family?
Well, first I'd like to say Luann had two children when
Yes.
she came down, and John and Tony, and they really doing good, both of them.
How about the
closeness?
closeness of your brothers and sisters? And
Well, back this whole lot of them time, we didn't have nobody else to talk to. we had to be close to them. No, we've always helped one another out if we can, if we needed to. I'll tell you, we're one of the only family. Now we never could get them two, Lucille and Cat, in there with us. But we're the only ones that worked out of the same checkbook all the time in three different businesses. Damn, if it wasn't tough. It wasn't always money up on top.
And I guess end it by asking you, what would you like to say to your children and grandchildren about the future?
I just hope that they will be something like our father and mother were, to try to help people. And don't be stingy with what you got. If you got something, if somebody needs it, give it to them. Don't be walking around and see what you can get for it. If somebody else needs it, give it to them.
That's certainly a very good thought. Let's see, the next will be Eddie. And Eddie, if you could give us your date of birth and where was the family living when you were born?
Born March 11th, 1936, and we were living down at River Spring or end of Old Wolf Road. But all the rest of them were born.
You all had moved up to.
No, we didn't move up to across from Old Gum until 39,
40.
40, 39, 40, somewhere along in there. And no, I lived down there for about 3 years.
Mm-hmm. And do you remember some of the folks that were living around there then in those days?
No, not down there. I was only, like I say, I was only 3 years old, and I don't know if it was Candellas were living down there at one time. Whether they were living there before Harry Jordan went to that house.
No, Candela.
No,
lived in the
Candelas
same
went at
house.
our
We
house.
I
were
thought they lived there, but I was only 3 years old. I don't know who that was there.
And where did you attend elementary school?
Well, the first 6 years I went to Holy Angels,
So
and then
Then what happened?
I think I had a choice to go to Leonard Hall or Reform School. So I picked Leonard Hall. And I can tell you, Reform School has been easier. But I have to say, I learned more in the 2 years I went to Leonard Hall than I did the other 10 years I went to school. But I don't remember 1 minute that I liked it.
Well, how about Leonard Hall from over now? Do you remember some of the people in your class? Was Matt Blair in your
No,
class?
Matt and Joseph were a year behind me. Billy Howard was from over here. He was in my class. And, of course, see, most people, well, Jimmy Duke was there once. I thought Jimmy was in everybody's class, but he was over there. And, because I remember what his name it was the captain One year it was Whitestone, and the next year it was Beale. Beale, they were the two captains. I didn't have to worry about getting. I got before, I think, an incident one time. Then, of course, I got busted.
Uh-oh.
Real why?
Were the brothers pretty tough?
Damn right they were tough. I mean, them brothers would hurt you back them days. But, you know, like I say, the 2 years I did learn respect. And I didn't have it, because I run Holy Angels while I was there. I tried a Leonard Hall for 2 or 3 weeks, and then I decided, I said, I'm too smart for this. I said, the brothers ain't gonna let me run this place. And I stayed there for the 2 years. Then I went to St. Mary's Academy, which was a lot of fun.
What was the make and year of the first car that you had?
Well, the first car that I bought was a 1950 Chevrolet. And I kept that one weekend. I think I put 14 quarts of oil in it that weekend. That's what I bought from John Gardner. He said it was cheap on the base, had it, 31,000 miles. Had about 200,000 on it. White, you know. But Daddy went over to see him that Monday morning, and John had to take it back. And I bought a 51 Chevrolet.
How about some of your friends in high school?
Well, I went right on through from Holy Angels with like Donnie Mattingly, and he was in my class the whole way through. And some girl, Kay Hodges, was in there to start with, but she's smart. She jumped a grade. And then Grace Morales, she jumped a grade on me, so they got
You didn't jump no grade?
jumped a grade. I priced those. I was lucky they failed on.
When did you meet your wife, and when and where did you get married?
Well, I knew, actually, when I met, I knew her all of my life. You know, and because Matt and myself were real close, her brother. And of course, when I first knew her, she was just Matt's fat little sister. But she changed a little bit. And we got married the 26th of July, 1958, at Holy Angels.
What type of work were you doing at that time?
I would work in Bailey's Express Center.
And of course, you worked in the family businesses with Bill and Bernard also.
Oh, yeah. But now, when I got married, see, Daddy had sold the company. And I still worked there. I would work there 2-3 years. Yes, after that, he sold the company. But he sold the company in '57. I got married in '58.
How many children do you have and their names?
We have 3. We have Donald Mattingly, and of course Bill, my son, and Jackie, who's married to Kevin Buckler.
Did it come a time when you, like Bo, got involved in politics?
Oh yeah, well, I tell you, I think we were born in it. If you knew Daddy, you were in politics all the time. In fact, I started. First, I started picking winners and losers and stuff, and how many votes we were going to get. I was about 10, 11 years old. I can remember with Judge Dorsey, and they'd be over the house, and they would write down who was going to win and how many votes they were going to get, and they knew what to talk about. I got pretty good at it. Except last time I run wasn't very good. I didn't make too good then, but my first political appointment, I guess, I was appointed to the Tax Assessment Appeal Board. Before that, I was vice president of the Young Democrat Club for a while. Then I was on the, some of that damn voting, delegate to the state convention. Was Dick Arnold, myself, and John Rule Dorsey. One day, for that. And then after the appeal board, I ran for county commissioner, 86. Dick Arnold was the commissioner, and he asked me if I'd run to take his place because Dick was dying of cancer. And of course, he did die before the election. And Governor Hughes appointed me to fill his seat. And I'd already won the primary, but I hadn't won the election. But then I served from there until 94, I think, when I got out of office. And like Bo said, losing was the best thing ever happened with me. Losing was the best thing financially ever happened to me. But losing an election it was take up a lot of your time you're supposed to be working. And that was, I really enjoyed the 8 years I was commissioner. But I wouldn't want another 15 minutes of it.
You were one of the founding people of the 7th District Officers Club. Can you share some experience in that regard?
Well, all three of us were charter members of the club.